to interview with a dominatrix. How are you today?
It's been a bit of a roller coaster of a day. So at the beginning, I work in a slightly different industry, so it's not just dom work. That's kind of more of a side thing. And as a showgirl, we get booked out through agencies to kind of do sort of like the feature bookings in the US, but there's like a lineup of girls that get booked to do stage work specific. And I had one booking confirmed for next week and was halfway through packing my suitcase to go. And they just closed the entire city down.
Oh no, that keeps happening to you, doesn't it?
Yeah, well, welcome to this year. It's just kind of decided to do its own thing, whatever that might be.
Oh my gosh. Well, seems like you're pretty much either a go with the flow or have learned to become a very go with the flow.
Do you really have a choice at this point in life? Like,
there you go. Optimism.
I would call that realism. Realistically speaking, I can sit here and like be miserable with the decision that I'm stuck here, or I can try to use the time to be a little more productive. So what am I gonna come out of this hating more? Crying or like productivity, right?
There you go. I love that point of view. That's awesome. I guess that's probably why you're like an in charge kind of person. So tell us, why did you become a dominatrix?
Honestly, it just kind of manifested itself into reality. It started out with honestly, a couple of the clubs were minimal contact or whatever else was allowed. One of my favorite bars, we get to take guys on stage and literally belt them while their friends make it rain on stage. And so what started out as being able to actually like take the knowledge from the fetish community and transfer it onto a stage turned into something that I thoroughly enjoyed. So yeah, to give you a great example of something that I did this year that was fetish related was the last time I got booked into like a decent slot. We weren't allowed to touch, but people were definitely just paying to worship at my feet. And I was like, hallelujah, like I have found the calling this year. They might not be able to do much else or like enjoy staring at my butthole, but they can pay to like smell my feet from a distance. I don't know.
There's that optimism.
Make the best of what you got.
Oh, that's awesome. Did you know that there were parties and stuff like that where people come and worship your feet and they pay you for that? Did you know that existed before COVID?
Yeah, I actually helped set up a dungeon of sorts in the US at one point. I got really bored and started scrolling through Craigslist to see what there was. And one of the call outs was for a foot worship pad. And while I was fucking off out of New York, I definitely connected them to someone else who ended up literally running the place for a while. So
it's awesome.
Yeah.
Have you ever been there?
I walked into the pad at one point, but it was set up out of an apartment, so I'm not sure the exact legalities of how they ran. I just know that the person I connected them to thoroughly enjoyed it.
Awesome. Well, there you go. What are your kinks and fetishes? What
I thoroughly enjoy public humiliation, trampling. I love pony play, so last year for Christmas I made one of my part way bitch, part way like submissive, part way friend. I made him buy me the Honey Birdette spurs. So I'm slowly working towards building up the pony collection. I would really love to have like a full pony play set. I love having like people on all fours doing like any sort of pet play. So that's super fun for me. I love when people play furniture. That's happened a lot at the parties I've ended up at. I love having an actual like coffee table or a chair where I can just sprawl out and tell them like, you don't get to fucking move. It's my turn to be comfortable. I don't know. As much as I am a dom, I find that people don't take it seriously because I tend to try to be more optimistic and have a sense of humor, or like I'm kind of small, so I'm like, I'm small, but I can still beat the living crap out of you. It's fine.
Where are you originally from?
Eastern Europe. So I'm born in Bulgaria. I was brought over to Canada when I was 9, and yeah, my accent got mocked out of me. So
tough. You got that Eastern European girl.
I feel like every man's like kind of every cis white straight man's like fetish is that like hardcore Russian like that's gonna like hit them and tell them exactly where their money's going, and I'm like, I can play that, not a fucking problem. Just won't get the Russian accent with it.
So you're a chameleon of sorts. You can perform in all sorts of settings as a performer, as a burlesque dancer, as a showgirl, as a hula hooper. What are your performance styles, and then what are your favorites? What do you like to do the best?
Hula hooping's always been my go-to. So that's kind of like my favorite, but I feel like everyone knows me for that. So I've been trying to branch and build different like platforms and experiences. I can't really say I have an absolute favorite, and I can't really say I choreographer to know exactly what the theme of what I'm doing is. Usually I'll have an idea of I want to use this around maybe this time, or I have maybe 2 minutes to take this, and this off. And it just kind of assembles into a jumbled mess of everything's just trying to throw random aspects of different performances into this one new thing. I'm not a very good planner when it comes to anything, honestly.
You're like, I depend on my spontaneity and my creativity, thank you.
Well, like, I had a guy that came into a bar at one point and he was like, you know, I've had everyone try to like domme me and no one succeeded. And I was like, challenge accepted. But for every single miserable thing where you want to go home and I don't fucking let you, you're going to put more money down on this table. That man was begging to go home until the next day when he came back and he was like, no one's done that to me before. To be fair, I also made him like do laps with his pants cut up and like fabric paint down his butt crack. So that was an amazing experience. I didn't have a whole lot else to use, and I'd ran out of my own personal paint, and for the past like half a year there was a container of fabric paint sitting in the back that no one had touched and no one had used and no one knew whose it was, and I was like, if they mind like a tiny little bit of it going missing, I will fucking replace it. So I put a $5 bill down underneath it and I was like, there, that covers the expense of whoever's paint that is.
Oh wow. Were you at like a club or something?
Yep.
You were at a club. Do you have private clients, or do you mainly work out of club?
I have a handful of people I deal with one-on-one, but it takes me so long to trust people just because having anyone in my own private space just scares the living crap out of me. I like living well above the ground floor and being like 35 cameras between me and the floor because of previous stalking experiences. And that's happened with both people trying to play dom and people trying to be submissive. And I had a puppy that fell in love with me a few years ago, and that man literally parked his car outside my house for 3 days. I was like, okay, well, the cops are doing drive-bys. Time for you to go now. Like,
Oh wow. How do you handle a situation like that? Do you
it depends on if they're being aggressive or not, but usually a restraining order comes in very handy.
you go fuck it right to the
Nope.
restraining.
Nope.
Yeah, you can't fuck around.
Personal boundaries are personal boundaries, and I find that the same thing that goes for the fetish community should apply for everywhere else. It's part of the reason I actually really do enjoy being a part of this, is the fact that consent is sexy, no means no. Having a safety word is a really fucking great start to any sort of play, and being able to openly communicate on what isn't okay in regards to boundary pushing and where exactly you want to take people is exactly how you're going to end up in those situations where you want to be able to keep building that like scene, the relationship, the like atmosphere, whatever else is there. It's really difficult when you get someone and they have, and this happens in strip clubs all the time, and they have this like one specific fantasy and they're like, you have to start right here. And I'm like, but I don't know you. Like, I don't know what your limits are. We haven't discussed any of this. How do I know what you are and aren't okay with? How do I know you're not going to run out of here crying and then have, like, I don't know, someone literally have me yelled at for your personal fucking problem like, for lack of communication. So yeah, I like the fact that control is something that comes into play, I guess, in terms of communication and BDSM and all sorts of fet-orientated activities. I think that sums it up. I'm sorry, I'm rambling.
No, you're fine. You're fine. So what are some rules that you live by when trying to communicate to someone in a strip club what your consent is, or what they want and what you're willing to do? How do you make that happen?
It really heavily depends on where you're at. So just like in the States, there's like different rules and regulations depending on the liquor boards. Same thing goes up here, different provinces, different liquor board, different inspectors, which means that even sometimes in the same province we'll have a completely different aspect on how the nudity and alcohol licensing is ran. So I personally really appreciate working Central and Western Canada because it's generally like minimal to no contact. I really like being on a podium and reminding people that I am a piece of art in a museum and you do not lick the fucking art. I don't know. It's a completely different thing when you're on a podium and you're trying to like eye fuck someone as opposed to when you're like in any sort of contact environment where the entire hustle is either like you twerking or you grinding in a lap for all your cash. So I don't know, I find the fact that I can literally shove my toe underneath someone's nose and not get yelled at because my ass is now off the couch or my head's too whatever, because I've had that happen before. And so my international experiences, yeah, I don't know. It's kind of a slightly different beast.
You're like a no contact dumb.
I don't mind being touched, but you better damn well have earned it.
All right. I think that's fair. Whether a dom or not a dom, you want to touch anything, you should earn that. That's just me.
Some of my favorite was, so the clubs in Australia were like mostly you're allowed to like touch the tits at the very minimal. And my favorite is literally having like people sat down and treating them like dogs and being like, okay, you're gonna be extra gentle now. Still haven't quite decided if it's dogs or children because either way you put them in their place. But you're like, okay, I'm going to guide here. You do not get to like flick the nipples. I will murder you. Your face is inches away from my fist. This will happen. So consent is sexy, but not everyone gets it. It's kind of like having, I don't know what's a good comparison. I had someone that was booked in for a private session in Australia, actually, and he literally went from being like, I just want to kiss your feet, to trying to shove my entire foot in his mouth within less than a minute. And I was like, I did not say this is okay.
I think that happens a lot. I've heard of many experiences of women being in like a foot party situation and it being very sweet, and the next thing they know, either they're shoving their foot or the foot's being shoved. I don't know. I think also too, you know, you're gonna push a limit. If you know you get an inch, take a mile.
Take a mile.
Gosh, which isn't right or fair because that's how you get kicked in the face. But you know, people will do what they.
If the foot is already in your mouth, I'm not about to risk destroying my toes on teeth. If the shoe's in my hand, that's a different story. You can always buy me a new pair of Louboutins.
And he has to buy them for you. Yeah.
You're the one breaking the rules.
Do you do all your own wardrobes? Do you make your own costumes and things of that nature? Your burlesque costumes are really cool.
I wish. I come up with a lot of the concepts. I come up with some of the designs and aspects that I want in the pieces. Like when I was creating the nurse outfit, I was working with an amazing designer she's based out of Florida, actually. She's been making like large scale feature costumes for years and years. And I was like, I want the pencil skirt to go up to the underbust. I want it to go over the corset. I want an actual proper underbust corset. Like, it's designing all of the outside pieces and trying to see exactly what you want to work with when you're on stage. But when it comes to actually like outlining exactly what detail piece I want where, I'm like, count me out. Like, please get creative for me. Okay, thanks.
Who's the designer? What's her
So
name?
that one was made by Jackie Costumes. She's absolutely phenomenal. A lot of the US features use her. She's probably the only one left that makes ginormous costumes like that. For anything else, I usually use my BC designer, Beauty by Impairment Designs. She's bloody phenomenal. She's made literally half the shit in the first TikTok video I uploaded this week for the first time. Yay.
I shared that. It was good.
But yeah, half the costumes in that video are hers. So it really just depends on what I want and who I want to put to work, I guess, because every single person is good at making something different. So it's utilizing what's in front of you, right?
Yeah, that seems to be the theme. What's your favorite performance that you do?
That's a tough one. I haven't had a lot of my performances recorded. So I don't really have a favorite. That's bad. That's really bad.
That's okay.
My top handful of performances is my circus show with my hula hoops, my nurse costume with the lotion show, and then if you remember the blue dress with the blue teal boa, I do a water show with that usually. So
a water show?
Yeah. Sometimes it's a lot easier to do something like that with a portable like mini tub. Sometimes I'll just bring a squirt gun. Sometimes I'll just spit water into my pussy. I don't know. It was more fun spitting water and ice cubes at people when I could, but then COVID hit, so there went that one.
So you spit on yourself, which people love that. That's a great
I was practicing spitting ice cubes to see how far I could spit them into the front row and into the crowds. So
nice.
Distance is a practice thing.
What's that dinosaur that spits the venom that was in Jurassic Park?
Oh my god.
Next year.
I don't know if you noticed.
Oh, yes. Where are you right now?
I'm in Winnipeg, which is like north of North Dakota.
Oh, nice.
Middle of buttfuck nowhere. There's not a whole lot of anything out here. The reason why I really enjoy being here is because it's the only place that usually, when it's open, of course, guarantees a ton of shows. So most of my work is literally hopping from bar to bar to bar all day long, sometimes all night long, just doing back-to-back 18-minute stage sets.
Wow. You wouldn't think, but North Dakota was a place for the burlesque performer to thrive. That's awesome.
Oh, I'm north of North Dakota in Canada.
Oh. So is the burlesque scene better in Canada than it is in the US, or it depends?
Honestly, no. Honestly, no. There's a handful of really good burlesque performers on the East and the West Coast, and that's about it. There are burlesque shows and performances that are in the middle of the country, but the middle of the country is the middle of the country. So you get a lot of farmers, you get a lot of mechanics, you get a lot of oil rigs, you get a lot of generally blue collar work, and a lot of that, while it's excited for nude entertainment, doesn't exactly go like going outside of the vanilla boundaries and lines. Mm-hmm. Most people end up escaping to the big cities just like they would anywhere else in the world to find some sanity and acceptance. So I usually like coming in here for work and then fucking off. But because I was mostly coming in, working, and then fucking off internationally, I ended up with a place here because I was like, I'm not here anyway. Welcome 2020.
Yay, 2020. Where do you want to go next? If you pretend.
What's gonna open?
Exactly. Wherever the wind takes you.
What's going to open?
Gotcha.
I can't make plans because there's no chance of making plans. I can't make bookings because they've gone as far as to shut everything non-essential down, including like closing off Walmarts and like grocery stores. Can't buy flowers, can't buy anything non-essential. We are in the middle of like full lockdown right now. It's a lovely experience.
Wow. Wow. Well, I'm so sorry you're going through that. I mean, we're all going to eventually end up going back through it, but as a performer.
Not necessarily, but that also depends on how people take the medical route and how many protests, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But that's a different story.
I'm in South Florida, so we don't care. we're like,
I'm really jealous.
I wish you could come.
There is snow out here.
Oh, that reminds me. I don't know why, but your name, totally awesome. How did you come up with your name?
So Nia is my actual name.
Okay.
And I came up with Nebula because of the hula hoops. It kept being suggested that should be it. It just kind of manifested into reality. And yeah, that just kind of became a thing.
It's a cool name. I love it. Nia Nebula. Do you have a Space Girl performance? Little alien?
I probably should. I've been told I should do Marvin the Martian before. I think that'd be pretty cool, but I haven't put it into like fruition yet. It'll happen. It'll happen eventually.
Do you perform with all hoop sizes? Small ones, medium, big? Do you like to just stick with one?
I have the size that I personally like, but I have a different size between my LED props and the like fire spinning stuff. So that's the only size difference. I don't really like working with mini hoops. I don't know. I've ordered poi, so hopefully we'll get on that train soon. And I'm still practicing my levitation wand. This is for my Harry Potter show.
Whoa!
It's a clarinet.
Nice.
So
what do you do with that? You can't just pull that out and be like, oh,
I wanted a white one so it will glow under the black lights.
Ooh.
But
how long ago did you get that? And then how long?
At the beginning of the pandemic, and let me tell you, I'm pretty bad.
Yes. We can't wait for pretty bad. Do you spin fire as well?
Yeah, I do.
A little fire.
Not often, but yes.
That's awesome. So you are going to take us away with a beautiful serenade. And I'm so excited about this. What do you prefer? Latex, leather, or lace?
How about a mix of all three together?
I'm not surprised by this answer. So you're gonna play us a song based on latex, leather, and lace. It's gonna be a new jazz spectacular.
Oh, this is not gonna be a jazz spectacular. This is from my Harry Potter show.
Also, your Harry Potter show. Take it away.
Oh, fuck's sake, of course.
Oh, good. That was so good.
I need to practice so bad.
But a little more practice, and that's going places. Like you could hear notes. It sounded good. Didn't sound like a duck was dying. You should hear me play trumpet. This is the most. No, I don't play trumpet. What other instruments do you play?
This is it.
That's it. You just. You just picked up. That's a clarinet or?
The clarinet.
Okay. So you just were like, I'm gonna learn how to play the clarinet. Where'd you
Pretty
get
much,
it?
yeah.
Your store, pawn shop, Amazon?
Amazon.
That's where we all got everything.
Last year in November, I was heading into Alabama for Miss Exotic International, and I had like 3 7-hour layovers because that was the only way to get a decent flight. And on one of those layovers, I met a girl who plays the French horn in the New York Orchestra. And we sat together and bonded over drinks and very shitty food, which we both agreed was probably one of the worst food experiences in the airport of both of our lives. So we did shots and we took selfies and we exchanged information. And when I decided I wanted to like do clarinet for this show specific, I kind of harassed her and I was like, find me a clarinet instructor. So the guy that's probably going to be very disappointed with my lack of progression. I'm pretty sure he's a part of the Detroit Orchestra, but yeah, all the entertainment sectors are down. So he was like, I've got enough. I don't have a whole lot else to do. Might as well teach someone to play clarinet, right?
Right. Performers helping performers. I love it. That's amazing. Well, good luck to your clarinets, developing those clarinet skills.
It's bad that I probably won't take it seriously until I have to.
That's all right. You'll get it done. And if you were to give all up-and-coming dominatrixes one tip, what would that be?
Consent is sexy.
Consent is sexy. Nice. Well, there you go. You heard it here.
Consensual non-consent is sexy.
And people who walk around on all fours.
Yes.
That you can ride. Yay!
But I love pony rides.
You can see it. You're like Christmas is coming. You guys now know what to get Nia. And thank you again for joining us on Interview with a Dominatrix. Let us know about all your upcoming stuff on Fetish Model Network. And of course, we can find you on Twitter. Is there anything else that you would like to let us know where we can see you, find you, book you?
All of my 18 plus content is on nianebula.com. I've got Instagram, I've got TikTok, I've got Twitter, I've got a Facebook fan page, all under Nia Nebula. And if anyone wants custom work, I've got nothing else to do because work just got canceled again. So please, for the love of God, like put me to work and give me a fucking project.
She is available. Well, thank you so much. Have a great night. Let us know about all your adventures.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, no worries. We'll see you soon. Good night.
Good night.